Hey everyone, welcome back to Torment, Tides of Numenera. We're about to go and do some big things in Melecast, but then I realized I had another code written down that we hadn't checked out, so we're going to check it out real quick before we head back to Melecast. This was a code that I found in the pocket of one of the cultists in the main room, so yeah, I need to enter a new code. It is 5, 1, 4, and 3. And where does this lead us? Oh, there's a person here. Oddwald the Sane. Okay. Where'd I put that memory? It smelled like cheese. Frail humanoid creature with olive skin clad in rags wrapped around his waist rummages about aimlessly, fidgeting with elongated hands. Scattered and frizzy dark strands on its scalp appear to be hair. As you approach, he rears his head, revealing large yellow eyes with tiny black dots that stare back at you gleefully. His smile, wide for a creature of his size, shows perfect set of teeth as his head moves inquisitively from side to side. You stand in Oswald's mind, he proclaims. Another carker whose hold. Alagern leans forward to look at the strange man. His tattoos slide down his arms, bunching at his wrists as if straining to touch the object of his regard. You're not mad at all, are you? Madness, my friend? I'm the sanest man you'll ever meet, the kindest soul, the truest treat. Those who call me out of sanity have gone into that place themselves. Alagern raises his eyebrow. What he's saying is that he's had his mind twisted by crossing through higher dimensions, and that anyone who thinks that he's carked is blind. Is that about the right of it? As I just said. What can you tell me? Why, my friend, I am Oddwald, Oddwald the Sane, Oddwald the Magnificent, Oddwald the true seer and keeper of the past, the one who knows, the one who remembers, the one who hides, and the one who laughs. They said I was mad, carkers, my mind a melted machine. When did they come in to see? I did not open the eyes to let them taste of the colors of my thoughts, but they swept the knowledge into me and out of me, and all that's left is dust. He drums on a rhythmic pattern into the dust on the tomb's floor. After a moment, he scatters his assembled junk with a swipe of one hand. The pieces fly randomly, but each lands during one of the beats, and they land in a straight line. Insight, foreknowledge, intuition, a predator's mind trapped into the prey's body. See the puzzle fit together in the nearest bolt hole. What are you doing here? Doing? All the myriad delights of life lie before me, breathing, heart beating, observing, digesting, expressing, micturating, pontificating, answering, ruminating. It is a good time to be alive, to be alive. Say I am discovering myself in the world and the hidden parts of the universe. Listen, these tombs, I know them. They sing to me. They're new children, the children in the gate, I know of them. I even know the fearful in affair. They are not secrets, though they are secretive. Look around you, you see the walls? I see the history, the past, the future, the potential. I line up probabilities and then I push them around until they're true. And when I understand the patterns, I retain the patterns. So what am I doing here? Learning. Huh. Tell me about Choi Kai-sul. Everything. She is dead. She was killed. She was avenged or not avenged. Who can tell? Nothing you don't already know, I see. Why do you ask then? Oh, well, he seems like the guy I should have come and talked to, earlier. Go. Do I put my fingers in your brain? Leave it alone now. Okay, fine. Gratitude is hard to find here. I would hate for you to have stolen mine. Okay.
Yes. Now.
Well. Yeah, this seems like a place. Minliang
All right.
And let's read one more. Samaj Trebet.
Doing it now.
I'm pretty sure that was Herbert James backwards, but okay, so we're going back. But it seems like this would have been a good place to go We keep finding these like little hints and things that we should have that would have been helpful before we went to the Children of the Endless Gate, but we're finding them all now afterwards. Oh well. Okay,
on my way.
So now the next thing is I found a Merecaster, I believe. Yeah, this guy. And I was gonna use it. Gonna see what this is about. You withdraw the coiled Merecaster from your belongings and weigh it in your hands. It is lighter than it appears. The liquid within calms at your touch. A mirror contained within the device does not calm. It hisses and boils, filling your mind with small clawed shadows. A headache builds behind your eyes, and despite that, even because of it, you feel compelled to sink into it and let it wash over you. Well, it's The sunrise gives the sea a blazing golden sheen, and all the city, from the harbor shanties to the splendid square just below you, basks in its light. The breeze blows fresh and brisk off the water. The song of night birds gives way to the chatter of clerks and touts, and your black-veined hands, twisted like talons, tremble on the windowsill. Behind you, men bicker about for tusks and shins about a rot that has reached the heart and brain and cannot be cut out. You turn away from the window and face the men, just as the closest of them, a one-armed servant in sumptuous garb, cries that there must be more that could be done, whatever the cost. But the other, a chirurgeon, snaps back. I am no mountebank, like Jalippa, flinging ciphers at the sick till there are no more shins to shake loose. It is not healing to stir false hope in those that are doomed to die. They break off the debate to look your way. You don't recognize them at all, and plainly they know you and expect you to speak. Apologize for your confusion. As you stammer out your confusion, the servant's eyes widen with understanding. He steps closer to you, and in an almost tender gesture, he lifts a hand towards your face. His one hand, his one arm, his other side smoothly swaddled in silk. I am Cardogo, your grace. You know me. And without it being quite so, he is right. Even poisoned as your body is, it feels the flesh of friendship. And this is Aram of the island. He has been treating your condition. The chirurgeon gives a slight nod, adding, My services are in your grace. The roots have spread too far, too deep. What the wind sowed must now be reaped. How long do I have? Days, perhaps, no more than a week. It grows as it will, and will blossom when it is ready. What exactly is wrong with me? The wind touches you, your grace, the iron wind. What it touches, it changes, seldom for the better. You're changing the slow. All those years you fought it, the doctors fought it, we fought it together. And now you have lost. You are leaving this life at last, and that all that remains is for you to decide whether you will do so properly. There are preparations to be made. There's work to be done, your grace, but you must rest. I will have the kitchen prepare your broth, and I will let your family know. The hours of rest have won you no strength. The soup sits uneasily in your stomach. Cardogo dusts your face with rouge to hide its pallor, slides white gloves over your twisted hands, wraps you in a padded jacket that adds lost flesh and masks the bulbous growths. He tucks and folds and buttons, and at last passes you a looking glass. In your trembling grasp, it shows nothing more or less than rotten sickness. You look like a corpse prepared for a funereal display. Cardogo has hidden nothing. He has merely framed your condition as a euphemism that others can bear. They are waiting, he says. Your eyes flick across the drawing room, alighting on a vast map covering the far wall. The shining oddment of crystal and azure steel whirling in a corner. The shelves of ancient tomes, the writhing fire caged in the hearth. Then there are men and women, young and old, all gazing expectantly. Scores of stares you cannot meet in a sea of unfamiliar faces. On some, fear and desperation are naked. Others have done better in their concealment. A neatly groomed man in a neatly fitted officer's uniform sobs messily. He is the exception. Cardogo puts his hand on your shoulder and a hush falls. Your grace, the family is gathered. To you alone, he says. They await your words. Try to ease their fears. You know you are dying. Your family may be strangers to you now, but anyone could see their fare. Namely, that they will fall with you, followers that they are. You must set them free. You speak of your weakness and their strength, of the darkness you face and the bright days ahead of them. You say that family is, by definition, more than one member. Too soon your well-worn words run out, and Cardogo ushers the crowd from the room. The officer, however, insists on staying, and your servant at last relents. Your Grace, your nephew Salvar begs a word. Salvar has everything you've lost, strength, beauty, vigor, and yet his haunted eyes, condemned eyes, are all too familiar. He bows, thinking his face hidden, wipes it quickly with a handkerchief. As he rises, he kisses your gloved hand, your Grace. His voice, for all of its glorious tenor, quivers as he is far weaker than he looks. You have given me so much, and now, as your end draws near, I hope at last to prove my worth. His harried eyes dart about as he gives his little speech. Something troubling you? No, not at all. I have discovered a wonderful opportunity, a mercantile venture in need of a leader, a man of precisely my skills, and a chance to purchase shares in the ongoing concern preferred stock. I can make good on what you've given me, prove that your faith in me has wisdom. His smile crumbles. I just need stake to buy in. He means shins, of course. I'll make sure you're provided for. Almost instantly, the fearful look leaves your nephew's eyes, and a beautiful serenity smooths his brow. Thank you. I will make you proud. Cardogo leads him from the room. When your servant returns, he shakes his head. You have showered that boy in shins, your Grace, and shared a greater wealth and wisdom to no avail. A person can always be changed. Cardogo flinches at your words, and the scorn falls from his face. After a moment's humble silence, he eases your chair back towards your suite. It has been a long day, your Grace. You should rest. A soporific and anodyne mist brought by Cardogo dulls the daggers that stabs your nerves, and soon sweet oblivion settles over you. You awaken in the dark night with the certainty that you are not alone. An uneven heartbeat races, and your rot-riddled eyes strive to find an intruder. Who's there, you hiss. A shadow sits at the foot of your bed, illuminated by the false fire glow of the cipher around her wrist. As your eyes adjust, her face becomes faintly visible. You recognize her from the gathering. She was at the back of the drawing room and left before anyone else. Casca, she answers, identifying herself, though by now she knows you've seen her. Or have you forgotten me entirely? I've forgotten almost everything, it seems. You have not forgotten to spoil Salvar. You haven't forgotten your three-legged lapdog. At the twist of a knob, the cipher on her wrist floods you with bright, blinding light, and you haven't forgotten to sleep in silk either, have you? Why are you so angry? I'm not angry. I'm hungry, and I want what you've been feeding my sweet, soft, rotten cousin for all these years, your shins. When I'm gone, you'll be provided for. Casca nods once without saying a word, then darkens the cipher on her wrist. Without its light, the room becomes completely black, utterly silent and empty, but for the whisper of her departure and the ever-present pain within you. Weakness and throbbing pain are the morning's gifts. Unblunted by the herbal broth Cardogo has brought, death will not stop knocking. By the time the clocks cry out midday, a palsy has seized your left hand. Your servant gives you a relic to grip, some ancient creature locked in amber. It slips from your grasp and shatters on the floor. The beast flies away. At that moment, a caller is announced. Cardogo leaves, then returns visibly dismayed. The mendicant, your Grace. Without awaiting an invitation, your visitor enters. A tall man, stiff and slender as a poker, finely dressed and bangled with ciphers. He glows with a confidant's confidence, and he gives a half bow, your Grace. I have heard, naturally not from Cardogo, but that your family cannot help but share their panic with the city. The hour against which you were prepared for so long has come round at last, and they, who surely know the day would come, are as unready as house pets. They have leaned on you greatly, but then so have I, and so have our children. I am here to bring your plans to completion. How can I help? I know that a cloud has fallen on your mind. It would give me great joy to lift it. For many years, your generosity has given new hope to the dispossessed and neglected children of the city. A long lifetime's worth of wealth has transformed what my hospice can provide, the lands alone, your old hunting preserves, and the mouths they now feed, the wrecking field at Clifton, the honest labor of gleaning its Numenera, the campus of the hospice itself, and all the lost souls it houses. As you insisted, no one knew of these gifts but us two and your solicitor, and now I seek to drink the last dregs of your estate. You may expect a bequest when I'm gone. Would that you could live to see the good your gifts do. There's one other matter of a more personal nature, if you would permit. I would like to show you a picture of one of my wards. Sure. From his bag, he takes a glass tube filled with a swarm of ants. Next comes a rich parchment, which he lays upon your desk. With a deft motion, he pulls the cap from the tube and pours the ants on the page. They skitter madly but not aimlessly, oozing acids onto the page until at last they've etched a flawless picture. You see a young girl afflicted with an almost unspeakable corruption. Half her flesh is a wilderness of misplaced parts and oozing sores. One of Cardogo's brood. Most of them are killed at birth, by the whores if not by him. Unbidden, a strangled sound escapes you, and Cardogo bursts in. The mendicant slips out without another word. Mendicant told me about your children. I see. I was a man when Kaylee let me into your border march, and a monster when we wed. Her love never flinched. Could mine? She wanted a child, but I dared not burden her with another such as me. Jalippa swore that there was still some good in me, untouched by the wind, that could grow in my wife, but I had to know for her sake. Let's see, Your Grace, I have brought a solicitor, your solicitor. As you recall, Your Grace, you declined my offer to draft a will against this day. Now you must tell me, how am I to dispose the residuum? Let's see, divided as you promised, they will have to make do with a share of what little is left. Oh, so I don't have a lot of money left. So, well, I'm not going to do that one. So I can divide it evenly amongst my family, or I can bestow it on the hospice. Those are the two. I was kind of hoping I could do both, but I guess given that I don't have as much money as I thought, we'll give it to the hospice, as they seem to be taking care of people. You can barely whisper the words, but as the final darkness creeps across your vision, you see from your servant's disgusted face and the solicitor's nod that you are heard. Your life's last short span stretches almost infinitely, and in it you see the hospice and many children of it in its care, not all thriving. It would be impossible to hope for so much, but all bettered by your bequest. Then the image fades, and the darkness turns to golden waves, lapping on the shore, and your long days were finally done. Well...
Maddie, I was wondering...
No one's called me Maddie in a long time. No one alive, that is.
Well, that certainly is something we need to fix.
My thoughts exactly. Consider it done.
That was an interesting Merecaster.
I'll handle it.
I probably would have chosen a little bit differently had I known what the situation was ahead of time, but, you know. They get you to go and promise all these things to different people without actually knowing what the situation is, but what can you do? So I'm gonna sell. I want to trade. Yeah. I'm gonna sell that Merecaster now that we're done with it. And does that leave me enough for what was the thing I wanted to buy? Let's see. I think it was a weapon, right? The Runic Blade of Tol'Danor, a heavy melee weapon. Yeah, I think it was this one. We're gonna buy that. And I think we're gonna give it to Eridus. Because right now he has a great axe, which does... what is it doing? Oh, it does 14 damage plus 2 per effort applied, which is not a lot right now. This does 10 physical and 10 energy. It can do up to plus 8 damage, so that is significantly more. So, there we go. And yeah, he's good with melee weapons. It's not, he doesn't specifically have to use melee, but... And with Aligarn, I've got a... Right, I have a one-handed weapon, so... Okay. And we're a little bit better here. Let's see, Whisperers. Also picked up the Sting Charge. Yeah, I can switch back and forth on those. I've got some Spray Flash. I do not have a lot of healing, but
Action!
kind
Here
of
I come!
running out of money. So everybody's got better armor though, so hopefully that will help a lot too. And then we're going to come over here and do this thing. I'm ready to give you the Merecaster you need but ask. This is where we're going to try to find out more about Mezoff. Hold a moment. You seem like a fair-minded person. The others here seem to defer to you, so let me ask. If the Changing God was here right now, what would you say to him? What would you do to him? I'd tell him what he has wrought in our persons. I'd ask him why he encourages strife, or I'd engage him in a discussion about mortality. But tell me, mortal man, what is it you truly want to say? Aligarn says, I want justice and I don't know how to get it. Your creator, the Changing God, he was responsible for what happened to my village. Wait, what? Why haven't you told me this before? I did at the monument. I just didn't tell you it was the Changing God who was responsible. Back in Orman, when I was an Aeon priest for my Aldaia, I found a frame, a black metal piece. I was looking over it in my workshop trying to figure out what to do with it. A traveler came through my town. He looked a lot like you, actually, though without the burn scar or the visible tattoo. If you're not the Changing God, then it was your creator in your body who told me to activate the frame and how. Then he left town. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but when I activated the frame, Black Monster spilled out all tooth and claw. I got knocked out. When I awoke, everyone was gone, no trace. The only thing that was different, the monster scarred me. Their attack left these tattoos all up and down my arms, a poison that whispers in my mind, a constant reminder that I failed everyone I ever loved. That was the Changing God's gift to me. I loaded the frame, took it to Sage's Cliffs. Orth Fong promised to help me. He found out that he could fold it down, but that's as far as we ever got. Never even figured out who made it or why. And in the meantime, I've been looking for the Changing God to try to find out what he knows. Why did he have me activate the frame? What happened to my family? And if I don't like the answers? His smile is grim and deadly, and his tattoos hum and hiss with power. I'll help you find out what the truth is, Aligarn. Sure you will. Adira says, Aligarn, what's past is past. Do you want aid? Do you want answers? Because if you do, your companion here is the one who will guide you to them. And if you let your rage blind you and poison you, you will never find the truth. Look to the future and, well, do not forget the past. Never that. Let the past guide you, but do not let it poison you. Here is a gift of knowledge for you. One of the blessings or the curses, perhaps, is that as cast-offs, we can on occasion find flashes of our Creator's memories inside our bodies. Should you find the frame that was the cause of your miseries, our friend might be able to shake loose a memory from her sire. I don't guarantee its success, but she studies you for a moment. If this is the Changing God, the damage from the fall has done significant harm. Your best hope is to travel with him. Perhaps you can find the answers you seek, but I pray you find peace in your heart. As she speaks, you can feel the tides roll gently off her, softening the walls Allegren has constructed in his mind, and his opinion of you has improved. I'll try, no guarantees. That's all anyone can ask. Now do either of you have any other business with me? Ready to talk to Mazov, show me the Merecaster. You have proven to me that I can trust you. Only remember that what you have learned in these tasks. Be gentle with Zarian. You are violating his mind. Be true to his path. Find what you need in return without causing him harm. You have a duty to preserve his life as he intended it, if at all possible. She presses the box into your hands. Okay. When you first open your eyes, there's a ruddy glow and a frightening shapes and shadows around you. The air is hot and stifling. As your eyes adjust, you realize you're outside, but the sky is darkened by clouds of pitch. The ruddy glow comes from the lava flows as they trundle down the distant mountains into the volcanic fields all around you. Sharp towers pierce the sky, tapered like bones of a ribcage. Indeed, they look like bones in every way, as does the ground beneath you. You appear to be standing at the spine of an enormous beast. The bottom of its jaw can be seen far in the distance, half buried beneath a layer of cold lava. Most of the bone towers look identical, but one shines from the inside with an odd blue light. The top of the glowing tower has been snapped off, and what looks like a transport hovers next to its peak. It's your transport. You were sent here to find something. Twisted bridges connect the spine to volcanic fields all around you. In one direction lie enormous formations of obsidian, arches, spires, a wall. In the other direction, a narrow pass is carved into the mountain face. The field leading to the canyon is illuminated by hundreds of glowing lights. You know this body wasn't sent to find Mazov, but Adira said he'd appear. Perhaps following through events will lead you to him. Let's explore the towers. I do not want to waste all my points, so let's just spend one. Failure. Oh well. Search for a long time through the towers. There's clutter and death in abundance, but you find nothing of value. So let's go to the tower with the transport. Or let's try to remember who we are. You're in the body of Zarian Daywalker, a jack who can speak with the dead. Indeed, now that you can remember that, you could feel the dead all around you. You can hear them. It takes a little effort to know the stories of those who died here. You may even be able to imbue some of your life force into the corpses. Zarian is wearing a black form-fitted suit that keeps off the worst of the heat. He carries a whip and various necromantic ornaments. Zarian was on a task to find someone called the Chimera. He was sent here to find some sort of sphere. Oh, he was on a task for someone called the Chimera. Let's try to find out more. You're in a place called the Fields of Asifagan, and many lived and died here, though it seems a terrible place to live. Scavengers from Sage's Cliffs have been through here in recent centuries, seeking treasures of the past. Before that, it was mutants fleeing revolution after bloody revolution in a place called Harif. Before that, refugees from a village called Shuenha. Before that, the Esophagans. The Esophagans? Themselves. You see a glimmer of a powerful artifact. Hundreds of years ago, there was a battle here. Many died. Two people, a middle-aged woman and a teenage girl, fought over a copper sphere at the top of a glowing bone tower. Let's go to the tower with the transport. You're at the top of the broken bone tower. Jagged bone walls act as kind of parapet. From here you see the fields of Esophagan, even better. The spine below you, the obsidian formations in one direction, and the glowing fields in front of the mountain pass in the other. Floating just next to the tower is a hovering pod made of azure steel. A ramp leads from the parapet into the transport. Okay. Little has happened here, but for one event it immediately becomes apparent. You see a middle-aged woman, you know her name is Amma, facing off against a young girl named Thea. Amma is hovering in the air like the transport does now. She holds a copper sphere that glows with golden light. Angry words are exchanged, and suddenly Thea leaps off the tower and tackles Amma. The two of them soar through the air toward the obsidian formations in the distance. Let's enter the transport. As you approach the ship, tingling crawls up your spine. You have a profound sense of task unfinished, and that trouble awaits you, or at least awaits the person whose body you were in, if you leave now. Okay, well, don't board the ship. Let's go to the obsidian formations. Okay. The obsidian formations did not form naturally. Creatures made of pure light called fire whites formed these structures out of hot, flowing magma, then supercooled them into the shapes they are now. The whites were trying to get at something or someone. You see a pair of figures on top of a small flying platform. One of them holds a copper sphere that glows with golden light. The whites tried to trap them here with the wall, but they escaped and flew towards the mountain pass. So I'm assuming that these two that we're talking about are probably the Changing God and the First. I'm not 100% sure, but that sounds about right. Okay, so we're at the Mount Pass. Oh, and there are fire whites here, so we will use the connection. You see a group of people in tattered clothing march through the pass and out these fields. They are terrified, having lost many of their number to the whites. You see two figures riding a small flying platform, almost like a shield. Suddenly the platform teeters and the figures fall. You can see the spot where the shield fell, and though the bodies are no longer there, you can feel their presence very strongly. And they are a short distance away. You can see what one of the figures dropped, what looks like a copper sphere. Okay. Let's study the white's behavior. Yeah, I know nothing about them. Okay. Let's get the sphere. Let's use the connection of the dead to animate up a corpse and have it get the sphere. Reaching in the earth, you find a body called Alma and summon her forth. With uncanny strength, she crawls out from the cooled rock. Though her skin is charred and rotting, the cast-off tattoo is clearly visible on her head. You command her to collect the sphere, but Alma's body only makes it a short way before the whites attack her. Their hands reach inside her, consuming what little life force you imbued her with. As they do so, the air grows intensely cold. Okay. How about we get the shield? The whites don't bother you as you try to pry the shield from the ground, but after a few minutes of tugging and digging, you realize it's impossible. The rock is cooled and melted and cooled again several times around the device. It's not going anywhere. Attack the whites with your whip. Whip has no more effect than it does on the air itself. Several whites turn towards you at the sudden intrusion. The air around you ripples between hot and cold so quickly it makes you feel sick. 3 of the whites reach out to you and begin sliding closer. Let's go back to the obsidian. The air grows colder as the whites close in. You bolt in the opposite direction. As you near the enormous obsidian structures, the air heats up again to its previous volcanic levels. The whites have disappeared suddenly and you are alone. Okay. Okay, let's study the whites some more and spend all of our points. Boo. You stay near them, watching them for a long time. At first they seem to be just wandering without rhyme or reason, but then you realize that the shifts you feel in the air temperature are not random nor natural. The whites themselves are causing them. Indeed, once you figure this out, you see how they use the temperature of the air as a kind of communication between each other. Maybe you could use this information to slip past them. So let's do that. We can use our connection to the dead to speak to those who died here. So we speak to a corpse of a middle-aged woman named Alma. The dead beneath is a girl, but she is strangely silent. Even with your strange powers, there is nothing to speak with. Peace. Is this better? Better? Yes. Better oblivion? Who are you? Alma? No, not Alma. Shelled. Cast away. Eaten and alive and eaten again. Not Alma. Food for whites. What happened to you? Buried to death? Before that lived, before that died? Before that lived and died and lived in so many cycles, so many deaths. Before that, someone else, awoken, remembered, a fight, a girl, or Lemnian. Why can't I speak with the girl? Gone, gone, but not gone. She woke something, vengeance, though no vengeance is in her. Okay, I'm going to try to get the sphere again. Now that you know the whites communicate through their temperature variation, you might be able to avoid their attention by feel better than sight, assuming that you can figure out what the different temperatures mean. The sphere is about 300 meters away, and the whites shift around constantly. It's going to be tricky. Let's stay where the air is warm. Because when we went back to the hot place, or should we go where the temperatures ripple between hot and cold so they can't detect us? That actually makes more sense. You close the distance by about 100 meters. It seems like the whites are ignoring you, but suddenly one turns your way. It seems more curious than hostile, but either way it's following you now. Let's keep doing that. White continues following you, but he remains at a distance. You're able to escape the attention of the other whites and close the distance by another 100 meters. Keep going. You edge your way closer to the sphere. One white looks your way, then another. Suddenly the air alternates between streaks of intense cold and heat. You don't know what it means until several of the whites block your way to the sphere. The rest that you come at you with outstretched hands. Okay, we run away again. Man, okay, go back to the mountain pass. Let's try it one more time. Let's stay where the cold air is just warm. White continues to follow you. You're able to escape the attention of the other whites. Close enough, you dive forward, grabbing the sphere and tumbling away before the whites can stop you. The air suddenly becomes a sickening pattern of intense cold and heat. You've escaped the whites' attention so far, but they're paying attention to you now. Several of them attack you with outstretched hands. So now we run. Okay. The whites have disappeared suddenly and you are alone. You search for anything remotely interesting, but the place is barren. As you're about to leave, an orange glow reflects off the rocks ahead. An enormous paw steps in your path. The rest of the creature emerges. It is the Gamorn, a pillar of light with claws. 100 faces twist within its body, emerging, howling, then melting back in the curling fire. The creature is easily 3 meters wide and at least twice as tall. Why would I try to get it to chase me? Let's go back to the spine. Gamorn roars behind you, but doesn't seem interested in you in particular. After a while, its roars fall away in the distance. Okay, so I've got the sphere now, right? Go to the mountain pass. Explore the fields carefully. Go back to the obsidian formations. Seek out the Gamorn. No, I don't want to do that. Go back to the spine. Explore some of the spine's towers, I guess. I could go to the transport. Enter the transport, because I've got the sphere. That's what I came for, right? Okay. You step aboard. The transport does not appear to have been made with any adult humans in mind. There is only one room, enough for you to lay down. And even then you have to roll on your side and bend your legs slightly. As soon as you have done so, the ramp proceeds and the doorway appears. Your stomach lurches as the transport takes you to the sky. At first you try to peer out of the tiny portholes, but all you see is pitch black. Presumably the volcano's black clouds. Eventually they are replaced by a black of a starry sky. You try to see the land below, but it's impossible in this cramped space. Hours pass. Finally the transport slows, its humming ceases, and the door reappears. Okay, you step out of the transport, stretching painfully. You're in a strange cavern. Artifacts are strewn everywhere, in various stages of repair or experimentation. One wall is covered by a network of displays showing people and scenes that mean nothing to you. In the center of the room is an enormous cage made of steel tendrils that twist together at the top. The cage glows for a moment, and a figure walks out. He wears a thick cloak, but his face is most strange. It shifts and blurs, changing its features constantly. You get the impression that you are seeing a person, but you can't define what that person looks like at all. His name comes to your mind immediately, the Chimera. Took you long enough. With your unique gifts, I thought finding a dead relic would come easier. He sets the Erlemon on the nearby table with a clunk. He immediately picks up a variety of scanning tools, one after the other, probing the Erlemon and its secrets. He seems to have forgotten about you. You look around the cavern, but there are no entrances or exits, nowhere that this Mazoff could be except for the cage. Examine... No. Where's Mazoff? I need to speak with him. Mazoff? I'm not sure that Tinker can tell you anything useful, but I can think of no reason to deny you. He turns and slides a hand along one of the metal tendrils. Although no discernible interface appears, he presses his finger against the metal twice and the cage begins to glow. Chimera turns his attention back to the sphere, indicating you should enter the cage with a dismissive wave. Let's see. Mazoff squats on some sandy alien shore. Stars twinkle in the sky behind him, but they are no stars you recognize. He picks up his head as though he heard something, then he turns to face you. One of his eye sockets is artificial, alternately projecting a human eye, a snake's eye, and something even more alien. And the time he looks you over, he looks like a shipwreck survivor, bare-chested, ragged pants, ragged beard. If so, he's better fed than you'd expect. Zarian, he says, his human eye squinting in the light. What the hells do you want? He peers forward as though trying to see into the cavern. The resonance chamber has been smashed. I need to know how to fix it. Well, it ain't that hard if you know the basics. The chamber's crystal, yeah? So it's grown, not built. So long as the chamber's core is intact, it should know how to grow itself. You just need a catalyst to... Wait, why do you want to know this? The resonance chamber's only good for... He gives you an angry look. Who sent you? Why are you after this? Trying to stop the sorrow from hunting us. I don't doubt it would stop the sorrow and a great many other things. I don't know how, but the changing god's trying to use you. If that chamber's fixed, nobody benefits but him. You can't trust a damn word that bastard says. How would the resonance chamber benefit the changing god? The resonance chamber is only good for one thing, and that's snuffing us out. The changing god's plans to use it to merge all of us, every Castoff that still lives, back into his body. That's his plan for stopping the sorrow. Look, I don't know who you are or what your part in this is, but you cannot let him activate that chamber. You need... He glances over his shoulder to something in the cavern, then when you turn there's nothing there. The first is alive, and she's got her own plan for the chamber, one that won't kill us all. Our sire has a new Castoff body that he plans to use as a catalyst for that chamber, but the first has a better plan, something that won't snuff every last one of us out. Look for her in the bloom. Just make sure you don't. Before you can finish, you feel a wrenching twist in the center of your body, like your heart is being wrung dry. Your vision tunnels back black as you feel through your body, as though your body were being sucked through a steel pipe. You're being pulled out of the mirror, and it's far more painful than it ever was before. Then Mazoff, the cave, and everything else disappears.
Making a note.
That was interesting. Interesting. You plant your hand on the icy floor and push, staggering to your feet. Every inch of your body aches, as though you've been crushed in a massive hand. The specter stands before you, impassive. Maybe your imagination, but he seems more solid than before. A phantom tendril, tendril, coils around your forehead, cool and soothing. Find yourself staring at your hand, your solid, real hand. Across from you, the specter is still transparent. The tendril tightens once, as if in confirmation or warning. Then the sensation is gone. You are alone here with the specter once more. He is waiting for you to speak, frowning now. Why am I in the labyrinth? I brought you here. We need to talk. I have something I've been meaning to tell you. You see, I haven't been completely honest with you. I'm not part of you. You're part of me. I created you. I'm the changing god. I'm wondering where you were. Here all along. Now I know this is a lot to take in. It means This body of yours is actually mine. I lived in it for years, and now that we know the first is still alive, I need it back. No. I knew you'd say that, but let's get this straight. I lived in this body. I made it for a purpose. And now you say your wisp of life outweighs my centuries of experience? Or maybe you think my first cast-off has a better way. Some magical solution to live out a false existence without price? I promise you, she has no such thing. She is always only killed to get what she wants. Her self-interest is just as strong as yours and mine. The only difference between the three of us is that I am real. You wouldn't exist if it weren't for me. You don't exist apart from me. Everything you are is a byproduct of my skills, my intellect, my experiences. And now that I have the chance to stop the sorrow to save us all, you refuse me? Who the hells are you? The new owner of this body. It was never yours to take. No, let me tell you what you are. You're an accident of fate, a parasite in the mind I built. You are a child. I don't want to destroy you, but I will if I must. Give me control. Never. Then I'll take it. And he spreads his arms. Tidal energy pours from the air around you, floating into the specter. The ground itself slips around your feet, holding you in place. You feel your grip on your body, your mind, slipping by finger lengths. You're diminishing. He is winning. You search your mind, your hard-earned memories, for something that will loosen his hold on you. Unleash the words of Craw on the specter. Drawing breath, you shout the sharp, barbed words that once destroyed the people of ancient Craw. They tear themselves from you and lunge at the specter, closing over his mind like a mouth full of yellow, jagged teeth. He staggers, hissing, then plunges his hands into his head. One by one, the specter pulls the words out, crushes them in his now fading fists. His outline flickers once more like a candle in a soft breeze. Pull your feet free. You struggle against the ground even as it creeps up your legs, but cannot free yourself. I'm going to rip you out of my mind. His expression hardens. You won't live that long. In another few minutes, your mind will be tattered wisps of thought fading in the air. Try to pull free again. Groaning, you strain against the floor, holding you in place, but no, you are trapped. It's a tidal surge. Spectre's eyes widen as you straighten, gathering the threads of tides in your hands. You raise them before you. Don't! The spectre growls. But you ignore him, wrenching the threads apart. Agony explodes in your mind, lashing your body, damaging essential parts of you. And the spectre as well. Oh, wow. I took 2 damage. With a shuddering gasp, he stumbles backwards, fading in and out of visibility. The pressure on your mind dwindles and ends. Fine, he says, eyeing you with cool contempt. If you're so intent on stopping the sorrow on your own, have at it. Let's see how you handle what's in store without my help, my guidance. Man, what a jerk. Then he fades completely, but speaks again. His voice is coming from all around you, from every corner of your mind. He's not gone, only hidden himself in your mind. I wasted my time trying to reason with you. That won't happen again. So everything I ever heard about the changing god was right. He's just a big, self-centered jerk. And we're back in the Labyrinth, I guess. As the portal closes behind you, something feels off. It only takes you a second to realize the specter is gone. It is quieter now in the calm of your mind. But he's not truly gone, is he? You can feel him out there watching, waiting, perhaps for a moment of weakness in which to strike. Great. And we're back in the calm. To the Sorrow's Fathom, Ninth World, Clock Fathom. Well, I was actually looking for a way to get back in the Labyrinth, so we'll, but we can level up first. It looks like. Let's see. What abilities are available to us? We can level up our infused weapon, or I can pick up some more warp dash. Extra effort, maybe. Kind of like edge. Let's see, we've got 1 intellect edge, we've got 1 might edge. Let's see, warp dash, infused weapon. If I pick up another point of speed, then it'll let us use our warp dash for free, which is kind of cool. Consumes movement. Consumes action. Oh, that's cool. Well, now I finally understand what it, when it says consumes action there, that tells you that it'll take one of your actions in combat. This only consumes movement. Anyway, let's see, what are we going to take? I'm tempted just to level up. What would this do? Give me an extra plus 15%, and I can already use it for free. Or warp dash. Let's go ahead and pick up. Let's level up infused weapons some more. Oh. Yeah. So we'll do that. And this has been a pretty long episode, so this is probably going to be a good place to stop. But next time we'll go and check out the Labyrinth. And then seems like we will be off to the Bloom. That should be interesting. That sounds like a horrible place to go to, so, but that'll be for next time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you soon.